Hello and welcome back to Best Era Football. This is week number 5. I know it has been a while, but we are in the afternoon games of week number 5. Still to come, of course, would be the Sunday night and Monday night football games, which will both be broadcast. But we're getting back into Best Era Football. Again, it's been a while. I might go through some of the things that have happened since it has been so long, but this is the afternoon game, so all the morning games and, of course, the Thursday night game are finals, so you'll be able to see updated records on the bottom of the screen for some of those games that have already occurred. And today was questionable for Dave Craig. You may not have remembered, but he was injured earlier this year in the second game of the season. The Seahawks went on to lose that game and find themselves at 0-2. But since Jim Zorn has played the two full games as the starter, they have won both of them. So the Seahawks come in at 2-2. The 1999 St. Louis Rams are 3-1. So this is a very important divisional game between the 84 Seahawks and the 99 St. Louis Rams. Let me go ahead and set up this simulation here. Rams are going to be kicking off. Unfortunately for the Rams, they are playing these games in Los Angeles and not in a dome, so the greatest show on turf will actually be on grass here in the home games. But they're still a very loaded team. Out comes the starting quarterback for today, Jim Zorn. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 63%, over 750 yards. He's played about 2.5 games. Again, taking over for Dave Craig, who is injured in week number 2. So the team has been able to get some confidence with Jim Zorn in there. And he'll, on first play action pass, and he completes out to his tight end, Charlie Young, for a gain of 29 yards. So again, Dave Craig was almost ready to come back. He will definitely be ready next week. But if Zorn can somehow beat the St. Louis Rams here and get to 3-2, I don't know. They might just keep riding with Zorn. There's 4 yards for Lane. Here's some of the starters. Esnick, Millard, Bush, Bailey, and Kreider is the offensive line of the 84 Seahawks. Kurt Warner and Dan Dornick, Steve Largent, Darrell Turner, and Charlie Young is the tight end. Now, the 2 running backs that were featured. Kurt Warner is the best of the running backs, but in 84, he was injured in week number 1. So even though he's the top-rated running back, I've said his injury rating and stamina rating is extremely low, so that he does not get more than about, he should never touch the ball 10 times in the game. That's how low this stuff is. If he does, he should certainly be hurt. And it has worked. So far, the Seahawks have not been giving him the ball more than about 5 times a game. Reason being, again, he was, had he been healthy and a feature back at 20, 25 carries a game, the Seahawks may have been even better than they were in 84, but even though we don't control injuries, we would like to at least make his injury rating low to where he's more susceptible to injury, so that the Seahawks don't ride him to a championship or anything like that. There you see Grant Woodstrom on the highlight here, since I didn't call it. We'll see it here on the replay. Jim Zorn flushed out of the pocket. The left-handed quarterback tries to turn and throw, gets hit, fumbles the football, and that could have been returned for a touchdown, but the unfortunate for the Rams, fortunate for the Seahawks, he tripped over the foot and only got a couple yards. Kurt Warner now comes up throwing right on the money, first down. And these St. Louis Rams have been featured on the channel before. Great game, absolutely fantastic game against the 89 49ers. I would highly recommend going back and finding that one. They have been on against other teams as well. If you know anything about the 99 Rams, they were an explosive offense, one of the greatest of all times at the time they were doing it. Kurt Warner, of course, not the starter at the beginning of the year, put in there because of the injury to Trent Green, and he just went off. NFL MVP, Super Bowl MVP, everything you could do in a season when you weren't supposed to be the starter. And they also have that guy, Marshall Faulk. So this offense is loaded, and they'll get first downs and touchdowns in a hurry, and you got to score to beat this Rams team. So the fumble on the first drive from the Seahawks, a very unfortunate start for them. Hand off to Marshall Faulk. Nice play made to stop him. That play, I believe that was Fred Young, the Pro Bowl linebacker of the Seahawks, that made that play.
If that's the case, you might have to start thinking about throwing it a little bit more. But if it's just the occasional 1 yard run, hey, congratulations to the defense. They won that one. Come back and get them the next time.
And there's the Seahawks charging offsides. So a little more about these 99 Rams. They went 13-3, of course won their division. Went on and won the Super Bowl. The #1 offense, by the way, there was 31 teams in the league at this time. This was before the Houston Texans. But the Browns were back. So 31 teams were in the league. #1 offense scored over 30, almost 33 points per game. And the fourth-ranked defense allowed only 15. So their average margin of victory was 33-15, and 18 points per game average for this Rams team. Absolutely amazing. Their playoff run, the first game was against the Minnesota Vikings, and I told you they had to put off points. Now you'll remember the 98 Vikings are also in best era football. They were an explosive team. So 99 Vikings, not as explosive, but still very talented offense. They put 37 points on the board, and it wasn't enough. These Rams beat them 49-37. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had an extremely amazing offense, and they are in best era football, the 99 Buccaneers. They played them tough and lost a heartbreaker 11-6. That's how the Rams got to the Super Bowl. And then the Super Bowl, 1999, sorry, against the Tennessee Titans, who are also in best era football, was a doozy. The Titans came up 1 yard short, and that gave the Rams the championship. And here you see the Rams on 2nd and 6, not 2nd and goal, 2nd and 6. Marshall Faulk dodges one guy, gets inside the 5 to the 3.
Since you ran it twice, but I often think that 2nd down is a time you go play action, throw the ball.
And now on 3rd and 3, Kurt Warner fires quickly and hits for the touchdown. That is definitely a touchdown. Kurt Warner to Amp Lee. And the point after is good. So, Seahawks get the ball. They go down the field. Or they get a couple of first downs and then fumble the football. Rams turn that into a quick touchdown. And halfway through the first quarter, it's 7-0 Rams. Now, according to the Madden ratings, if you will, team overall ratings, the Rams should win this game by 6. That's just by ratings, not counting home team or anything like that. And you might say, well, you just told me how good the 99 Rams were. Why are they only supposed to win this game by 6? I never even heard of the 84 Seahawks. First of all, if you never heard about the 84 Seahawks, that is a shame for sure. But I'll tell you a little bit more about them. In 1984, Seattle Seahawks went 12-4, but that unfortunately was only good enough for second place in the AFC West. That's right, the AFC. The Seahawks were in the AFC West for the beginning years of their franchise until they finally moved over to the NFC when the league got to 32 teams and decided to do some restructuring. Their coach that year was Chuck Knox. You might remember him from the Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowls, but they went 12-4. They were number 5 in offense. Back in 1984, there was 28 teams in the league. So of those 28 teams, they were the 5th-ranked offense and the 5th-ranked defense, scoring 26 points per game and allowing 17.5 points per game. So they only won their games by about 8.5 points. Here's the Rams defense. Kevin Carter, DeMarco Farr, Ray Agnew, and Grant Woodstrom on the line. Linebackers London Fletcher, Todd Collins, and the Super Bowl hero Mike Jones. Keith Lyle and Billy Jenkins are your safeties. Todd Light and Dexter McClellan are pretty decent corners. Todd Light exceptionally well played 1999 season. 2nd and 7 here. Handoff, and Dornick gets his first carry, only for 1 yard. Seahawks, I told you 12-4. In the playoffs, they beat the Los Angeles Raiders 13-7 and then lost to Dan Marino. Remember, 1984 was Dan Marino's record-setting year. Lost to him 31-10. A little more about the Seahawks. Chuck Knox. First of all, Kurt Warner was a great running back, one of the best in the league at that time. So Chuck Knox's plan was to be primarily a running team behind Kurt Warner. And Dave Craig, he felt, was a very good quarterback off of play action and some rollout scenarios. Enough of a quarterback to get the job done with a great running game. So what happens is Kurt Warner goes down for the season right away, week 1, and Chuck Knox has to make some changes. So they do make the changes, and you will see I try to follow that by using substitution formations and things like that. So the Seahawks will give running backs, all their running backs, some carries. They split rushing attempts, unlike any other team that you'll see probably, definitely in best era football, probably ever, just checking out old films or anything. They really spread it around. In fact, let me try to give you some numbers here. The Seahawks rushing attack. David Hughes had 94 carries. Eric Lane, 80 carries. Franco Harris, 68. Randall Morris, 58. Dan Dornick, 57. Zachary Dixon, 52. That's 6 different running backs that had over 50 carries. And then Dave Craig also scrambled 46 times. So nobody on the team had 100 carries, but 6 different running backs had over 50. Nobody had over 350 yards. But, all, including Dave Craig, 7 different people had over 100 yards. So they definitely split it up. Cannot understate that, or overstate that. They had to, though, because the big guy, Kurt Warner, got hurt too early. And Dave Craig showed Chuck Knox that he could put the load on his shoulders. That year, he threw for over 3,600 yards and 32 touchdowns, as well as scrambling for another 186 and 3 touchdowns. So Dave Craig had a Pro Bowl season. The running back by committee did enough. And the big story, there's a big sack by the defense. The big story is their defense. I'm not seeing the number here for some reason, but they... Oh, hold on 1 second.
Getting to the quarterback is a mindset. It's a mantra for them. And they play a game within the game
Sorry about that. See what happens here on 3rd and 13 real quick. Kurt Warner, he's got time. Completes underneath, but nicely tackled. And Kurt Warner's 5 of 6, 45 yards.
One hallmark of good defenses is understanding the game, understanding positioning, and tackling immediately in the secondary after catches. I think we just saw that on display right there.
Got to him before he ever had a chance to think about turning it upfield.
Hey Shane, how's it going today?
Fair catch called for and about the 32-yard.
Yeah, Brian Bosworth unfortunately was not on this team. Brian Bosworth, a person that looked like he was going to be off to a great career, unfortunately, only played from 87 to 89. 89 is when he got hurt and had to give up football. But, yeah, he wasn't there until 87. But this defense was loaded. The man, one of the greatest safeties of all time, Kenny Easley, was the leader of that defense. He had 10 interceptions in that year. I was trying to look up the total turnovers the Seahawks forced because it was amazing. Let's see, I'm sure that I have it here somewhere. Why can I not find it? Oh, is that it? Turnover. Yes. 63. 63 turnovers forced. 63 turnovers forced. That is an average of 4 turnovers forced per game. I mean, when a defense forces 4 turnovers, that's a great game. I'm a Bears fan. The Bears have had some good defenses over the years. And I do believe the 85 Bears defense was better than this 84 Seahawks defense. So don't, I'm not crazy or anything. However, not even the any defense that the Bears have ever had forced 4 turnovers every single game. 63 turnovers forced is the reason why the Seahawks, without their star running back, were still able to go 12-4. And there's Jim Zorn. Speaking of injuries here at Best Era Football, Dave Craig, the starting quarterback, got hurt, and so Jim Zorn has taken over. He's led the Seahawks to 2 wins, and he's 4 for 4 here today against the Rams. Yep, I mean, we're talking, what is this, 30... Let me see if I can even do math here. That's 35 years ago. 35 years ago, Brian Bosworth was 30-ish years ago, 32 years ago. So, yeah, I love I would have loved if Brian Bosworth was on this team. Even if he was a rookie and just on the bench and didn't play much, it would have been awesome. But fortunately, the Seahawks were better this year than any year that Bosworth was on the team. Outside of Kenny Easley, the defense that the Seahawks have, certainly not as flashy as Brian Bosworth, but they definitely had some good players on there. Joe Nash, the big nose tackle, is another super stud to look out for. He was an all-pro. And then a cornerback by the name of Dave Brown is someone else that you may recognize. The rest of the names, all good players and certainly good. I mean, Jeff Bryant and Jacob Green each had combined for 27.5 sacks that year, but I mean, those aren't names that stand out. They weren't flashy or anything. Good players for sure, but that's how the defense was. A huge monster in the middle of the defensive line, and then maybe the greatest safety at the time. Certainly in the AFC, he was amongst the tops. I guess it was between him and Ronnie Lott probably as the best in the game at the time. But Easley in the back, Nash in the front, and then 9 other guys that were all very good players, but not flashy at all. See how the Seahawks defense can do against this 99 Rams team, though, because the Rams are loaded. Marshall Falk kept caught behind the line here.
Well, you had to punt on your first drive, and on the first play of the second drive, you end up going backwards. I would dare say they need something good to happen right here, right now.
Hand off to Falk again. Oh, look at that stiff arm. Stiff arm bought. He only got another yard after that stiff arm, but it was still an impressive stiff arm. Tackle made by Robinson. That's Sheldon Robinson, one of the inside linebackers. The Seattle Seahawks play the 3-4. And, of course, the Rams play mostly shotgun. Drop back and sling it deep. Medium crosses, deep posts. A couple streaks in there. They just, a bunch of speedy receivers and a very accurate and lights out quarterback for 1999. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, so he's good every year, but especially in 99, Kurt Warner. That's right, both these teams had a stud named Kurt Warner. The difference is the Rams, Kurt Warner, started the year unknown and on the bench and not expected to really be a part of the team outside of practices. The Seahawks, Kurt Warner, was one of the best running backs in the league. Again, these are different years, 15 years apart, but still, in 1984, one of the best running backs in the league, expected to be the star of the team offensively. So what happens in preseason? The quarterback of the Rams goes down, Trent Green, and Kurt Warner gets thrown in there. Unknown Kurt Warner. And then the star running back of the Seahawks, Kurt Warner, gets injured in game 1 after just 10 carries and is lost for the season. So the star sits out most of the season. The unknown Kurt Warner becomes the star by leading his team to the Super Bowl, winning both NFL MVP and Super Bowl MVP. Just unbelievable stories going on in this game. Now on 3rd and 8, let's see what the quarterback Kurt Warner can do. He will go underneath, and a nice tackle made. And that's the man, Kenny Easley. Kenny Easley, anywhere near the ball, you have to feel unsafe. 10 interceptions, also forced some fumbles that year. Just a turnover machine. And he is also the punt returner, so even when you punt, you still can't take your eyes off of Kenny Easley on the other side. So they punt it straight out of bounds, which makes sense. One of the reasons we're back with Best Era Football is Sack to the Future has a day off. There are no games going on in Sack to the Future. But tomorrow night, I believe, John M. will be bringing us a game. Don't know if it'll be the Oilers or Giants, but I'm sure that one of those games will be played on the John M. channel tomorrow. And we're hoping the other one will be Monday so that we can get back to, or get on past Week 12 onto Week 13. But here we're in Best Era Football, so get the attention back here. Zorn just completed his 6th consecutive pass. That one to Hall of Famer Steve Largent. Back in 1984, though, the 2 Pro Bowlers that the Seahawks had were Hall of Fame wide receiver Steve Largent and the starting quarterback Dave Craig, who is out today. But Jim Zorn was not a nobody. I mean, he was the starting quarterback from the early years of the Seahawks, in the late 70s and early 80s even. Dave Craig did take his job and was actually a better quarterback, but Jim Zorn is not bad. And then you see there's Hughes with his 2nd carry. So we've seen Warner get a carry, Lane's gotten a carry, Dornick's gotten a carry, Hughes has a couple carries. So the Seahawks playing true to life, giving the ball to a different running back on almost every play. Zorn, quick throw, and tackled short of the first down. 3rd and 1. The Seahawks would love to hold the ball as much as possible. I mean, that's what everyone tried to do against these 99 Rams. Keep Kurt Warner and Marshall Falk and all those dangerous offensive players on the sidelines. And if you could get points, of course, you have a chance. Holding the ball and not getting any points is really not going to do anything, because these Rams, even if you only give them 19 or 20 minutes, you hold the ball for 40 minutes and only give them 20, they are still going to put up at least 24 points, you would assume, in just 20 minutes. At least, well, let's say a point a minute. So if you hold them to 20 minutes, maybe you can hold them to 20 or 21 points. But even then, you still have to score those 21 points in your 40 minutes of possession. Hey Shane, thanks for joining. Hopefully you make it back. Certainly it is Easter tomorrow, so understandable if it's just time to get to bed. Hope anyone that sees this, this is broadcast the day before Easter. Hope anyone that happens to see this live or shortly after live does have a good Easter. If you're seeing this later, then hope you did have a good Easter. There you see the two games coming up still. The Kansas City Chiefs of 1990 and you saw the Houston Texans there. That's actually the 1992 Houston Oilers. That's the Sunday night game. And then the Monday night game is the only team that's still undefeated here in Best Era Football, the 1998 Minnesota Vikings with rookie Randy Moss. And they are taking on the 1985 Chicago Bears. So if anyone can beat that Vikings team, hopefully it's the 85 Bears. Earlier this week, you'll see some scores underneath. The 49ers won. One of the scores you'll see is the Detroit Lions beating the Carolina Panthers. And that was the last remaining team that had not yet won a game in Best Era Football versus the Panthers, who were one of two teams that had not lost a game. And by the Lions beating the Panthers, that means everyone in Best Era Football has won at least one game. And 31 of the 32 teams have lost a game. Again, the only team that has not lost a game, the 4-0 Vikings from 1998. And so the game speed or tempo, the way the game is playing out, it is what the Seahawks want. A very competitive, hard-hitting, slower game. But even though it's favoring the Seahawks in that regard, they have not scored any points. So they've held the super offense of the Rams to just 7 points so far in almost 2 full quarters. But since they have 0, they're still losing. And there's Kurt Warner finding his man, Isaac Bruce, for the first down. Now, that was a classic 1990 Rams team play there. Kurt Warner was able to sit back there for a long time, about 5 full seconds, and then getting the ball out to Isaac Bruce. The Rams offensive line, led by all-world left tackle Orlando Pace, blinked on the name for a second. They gave Kurt Warner a ridiculous amount of time for the most part. I mean, a couple games throughout the season, you know, the defenses got to him, including the Super Bowl, when the Titans put a pretty decent pass rush on him. And those were the close games, or the games that the Rams actually lost. But in most of the games the Rams won by 18 to 30 points a game, the offensive line just dominated. Now the Rams, it truly is a story of Rams offense versus Seahawks defense. Although, again, the Seahawks offense was 5th best in the league and the Rams defense was 4th best in the league. So these teams are just good. In Best Era Football, for the most part, the teams are good at both sides of the ball. So let's never forget that when I say it's Rams offense against Seahawks defense. The Seahawks offense and the Rams defense are also very good. Just not as good as the other side of the ball. So far, the Rams' offense has been slowed down by the defense, but certainly not shut down completely. And if Kurt Warner could put the second touchdown in here, it'd be a 14-point lead. That might be too much for the Seahawks to come back from. Look at that time. He still got sacked, but he had a lot of time before Joe Nash was finally able to break through. Now the offense of the Rams, Kurt Warner, All-Pro, Marshall Faulk, All-Pro, Orlando Pace, All-Pro, and wide receiver Isaac Bruce was a Pro Bowler. So three, basically the best at their position for that year, and a wide receiver who was right near the top as a Pro Bowler. The Seahawks counter on defense with All-Pro nose tackle Joe Nash and All-Pro strong safety Kenny Easley, as well as a Pro Bowl corner, Dave Brown. The Seahawks have 2 Pro Bowlers on offense. The defense of the Rams also has 2 Pro Bowlers. And the special teams would go to the Seahawks as well, as Kenny Easley was a punt returner, very good at that as well. And Norm Johnson was perhaps the best kicker in 1984, All-Pro, Pro Bowler. But here we'll see the other kicker, Jeff Wilkins. He was 20 of 28 in 1999. Let's see what he does here with a 41-yard attempt. He puts it right through, and the Rams increase to a double-digit lead. Now let's go from real life to Madden football, or best era football to be more exact. The Rams come into this game at 3-1, and the Seahawks are 2-2. Now, even though the Seahawks in 1984 were an AFC West team, this is Madden 18, so both these teams are in the NFC West. If the Rams win this one, they improve to 4-1 and into a tie with the 89 49ers. And the Seahawks are dropped to 2-3, 2 full games back of both the Niners and Rams. It's a screen pass here, and a couple yards, got timeout called. If the Seahawks are able to make the comeback and stun the Rams here, both teams would go to 3-2, and both teams would be 1 game behind the 89 49ers. Oh, I thought he hit his tight end Charlie Young, but at the last minute, Bly was able to knock it away, and that is the first incompletion from Jim Zorn. Third and 5, Zorn really needs to come through here. Quick trigger and dropped. That's 2 straight that Charlie Young dropped. I think Bly was able to knock the first one away, but this one was just on Young. Need to make those kind of catches when you're playing an offense that's just talented on the other side. Here's the punt by Jeff West, taken at the 14 and drilled at the 16, just a 2-yard return for Isaac Bruce. Marshall Faulk, you see on the year, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's in best era football. In 1999, Marshall Faulk had 1,381 yards on the ground and another 1,048 yards receiving. Just a ridiculous talent Marshall Faulk was. Over 1,000 yards, both rushing and receiving, and 12 total touchdowns. Kurt Warner was the MVP, but Marshall Faulk was probably the best player in the league that year. So we're at halftime. Seahawks got the work cut out for them. The good news is the defense has not been beat too bad by these Rams. Have held them to 10 points, which is normally good, but their offense has done nothing except for turn the ball over once. Kurt Warner, 13 of 16, 133 yards. typical Kurt Warner. Marshall Faulk, 12 carries for 43 yards. Jim Zorn, decent start, 8 of 10 for 87 yards, but no touchdowns. And Kurt Warner, 2 carries, 1 yard. Now again, he's purposely set to not get the ball much. But in his limited carries, you would hope he would get more than a half a yard per carry.
This one taken from the 7. Get a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. An update now from Northern California. Up in Oakland, the Raiders are out to an early lead. And we'll keep an eye on.
Again, if the Rams win this game, they get to 4-1 and will be tied with the 89 49ers. Both teams won the Super Bowl in their respective years, 89 and 99. Both teams had great offenses and very good defenses that were kind of overshadowed by their great offenses. So this is definitely one of those battles of who is going to win the NFC West. I am torn. Both teams are great. I'm a little bit partial to the 89 49ers because those 49er teams kind of owned. It wasn't just 1 year. They owned the 80s for the most part. So in my mind, it seems like they're a better team, but this is just the 1 year. So you don't get credit for multiple years. The 1 year of 1989 49ers versus the 1 year of 1999 St. Louis Rams, it's very close. I think the Niners were 14-2, Rams were 13-3. Both won their Super Bowl. I'm going to still say the Niners end up winning this division. But if the Rams win this one at 4-1, I would not expect it to be anything but coming down to Week 17 before we see which one of these champions wins this division. And that's where the Seahawks come in. The Seahawks have already lost to the 49ers, but if they could stun the Rams here, they can really throw their weight around and be the determining factor that gives the division to one or the other. They get to play them both twice. So even if they lose this one against the Rams, they'll still have another shot at both the 49ers and the Rams. It was a monster punt by Rick Tootin. In 16 games, Rick Tootin punted the ball 32 times, just again to show you how good the Rams offense was. He punted 2 times per game. Seahawks have already made him punt more than that today. That was Kurt Warner's 3rd carry, and again, he has just 3 carries for 1 yard. So none of the running backs really doing anything for the Seahawks today. Is going to be all on the arm of Jim Zorn, it looks like. There they give Dornick a try. He's had 5 carries for 6 yards. So between Warner and Dornick, they have 8 carries for 7 yards. Jim Zorn now on 3rd and 9. He's going to let it go. Oh! I think Steve Largent had his man beat, and Zorn threw it just a little too long. Steve Largent, not, you know, a speed burner or anything like that, but just a guy that knows how to get open, and he got open there, and Zorn missed him. And now the Rams are going to be looking at good field position, and that is a dangerous proposition for the Seahawks. Pretty good punt, putting it right on the sideline, so there was no return. Shane, I know that you have got to be rooting for the 1993 Cowboys here in Best Era Football. I won't make any, I'll try to be objective when calling the game, but I don't think it's a secret that I'm rooting for the 85 Bears, so that Monday night game, the 85 Bears and the 98 Vikings, will be hard to be objective, but we'll see what happens. But, I mean, this whole league is basically 32 very good to great teams. So to say any one of these 32 is going to win it all is, I mean, nobody has good odds. As good as the 93 Cowboys are, the chances of them winning this whole thing is not great just because there's so many great teams. Now, that's not any worse than any other team, though, I don't think. I would say like the 98 Cardinals or 91 Lions certainly have the worst odds. But even the great teams, it's going to be tough to win it all. Kurt Warner now on 3rd and 1. Slings it and gets the first down. Kurt Warner at 80% today. He's just taking what the Seahawks are giving him. The Seahawks are doing a good job of keeping the Rams from getting the big play. So what Kurt Warner is doing to counter that, he's just taking the small passes here and there, getting first downs, dominating time of possession. And as you see, they're already up by 10. And now they're inside the red zone again. As Isaac Bruce pulls that one in. He's at 66 yards and 4 carries. The Pro Bowl corner, Dave Brown, is the one that tackled Isaac Bruce. So it's a matchup, Pro Bowl receiver versus Pro Bowl corner. Kurt Warner gets time again, slings it towards the end zone. Oh, that was Kenny Easley. And usually if he gets a hand on it, even one hand, it's picked off. And Kurt Warner is lucky that he was unable to come down with that one. That could have been a game changer. Let's see if he would have went out of bounds. If he catches that ball, I think he stays in bounds. He probably, oh man, he might return that for a pick 6. That was just an eyelash away from this game being 10-7. That's how dangerous that man is. Kurt Warner got lucky there, and now they'll hand it off. Probably a smart call. Marshall Faulk up to 50 yards now. Kurt Warner from the shotgun, 3rd and 7. Steps up. Now he's got to run for his life, and he won't get the ball off. The Seahawks come up with the sack on 3rd down. And that is the Seahawks' 5th sack. So they are doing a good job of getting to Kurt Warner, which has slowed down the Rams. Kept them to just 13 points in 2.5 quarters. Or, I'm sorry. Yep, there's 13. Okay. Wilkins was 20 of 28, but he wasn't automatic, so I should not have counted that 3 points before he made it. But he did come through for the Rams. Seahawks defense is giving them a chance, but they're going to have to get a touchdown here. If they get a touchdown this drive, then anything can happen. If they continue to get 0 points, the Rams offense is going to wear down the Seahawks defense. Zorn will turn, fake it, has time, bought from the play action pass, and winds up and goes deep, and oh, that really should have been picked off. Rams had a feeling that the Seahawks were going to try to get it all in one play, played the deep ball. And Zorn lucky that that was only incomplete. Now from the shotgun, Zorn. He'll go underneath. Oh, no. Zorn put the ball right on the money, and it was dropped, and that was going to be at least 20 yards. So ill-advised throw on the 1st down, but a perfect throw on the 2nd down. Both wind up as incompletions. And now 3rd and 10. They're about to give the ball right back to the Rams. Zorn puts it up there and hits Steve Largent, who gets away from one tackler, gets all the way down inside the 20, 15, down to the 11-yard line. What a play. The Seahawks needed that. The game was about to end, not literally, but momentum-wise. Zorn, it wasn't even a pretty pass, but it was close enough for Largent to get his hands on it, and Largent doesn't drop them when he has a chance to make a catch. And then he goes all the way down to the 11-yard line. That was a play the Seahawks needed. Now with just over 6 minutes to go, the Seahawks are threatening, and if they can put this into the end zone, we're going to have a fantastic finish. There's a handoff to Lane. His second carry, he has 5 yards on 2 carries.
Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9.
Well, that call makes sense because they've been throwing it well on this drive.
Zorn from the shotgun again.
Passing formation.
Southpaw takes the ball, and he's in trouble. And goes down. No one picked up London Fletcher on the blitz, and Zorn had to take the shot. And the Rams are celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl. Third and 18. Let's see if Zorn has one more great pass in him here. In trouble. Grant Widstrom and Kevin Carter combine on the sack. And that pushes the Seahawks all the way back. It's going to be a long field goal now, 46 yards. Norm Johnson, again, one of the best, though. 20 of 24 in 1984. And this one's going to be blocked. And he picks up, and he's going to return it for a touchdown. Well, the big play of the Largent gave him a chance, and that blocked field goal has just put any doubt to rest. The Rams are going to win this game and be 4-1 in a first-place tie with the 1989 49ers. The Seahawks are going to drop to 2-3, but they do get Dave Craig and their offensive lineman. One of their offensive line starters was out as well. Not a big difference between that lineman and the backup lineman. And actually, Dave Craig's not too much better than Jim Zorn either, but still, you get a little bit better at offensive line, a little bit better at quarterback. And overall, that makes a difference. So Seahawks will be better, but they are going to fall to 2-3. Unless Jim Zorn has some sort of miracle in him, but that blocked field goal was extremely unfortunate. Quick pass, that's knocked away. You see the Oakland, well, they're actually the 1990 Los Angeles Raiders, but they were up there. You see the Cowboys trailing the Packers. That's the 93 Cowboys against the 96 Packers, a couple Super Bowl champions going at it. And at the moment, it says the Packers are up by 6. Lane gets the best run of the day for the Seahawks. Seahawks have been able to, even though the running hasn't been that effective, they have run the ball as much as they've thrown it to keep the defense honest. There's another handoff. Kurt Warner, 4 carries, 5 yards.
When you find that kind of yardage, you couldn't be more confident as a ball carrier. And guess what? You're going to go back and tell your offensive coordinator, I'd like to keep carrying it, thank you.
Play action pass now. Zorn rolls out. He's going to have to keep moving. He gets rid of the ball before getting sacked and puts it in the arms of a St. Louis Ram player who makes a move, and he gets across the 50. And Jim Zorn himself has to make the tackle before Todd Light takes it back the distance. And so now the Seahawks are unraveling as they're trying to make big plays to try to get back in this thing, and they're actually doing the reverse. And I told you the Rams won their games by an average of 18 points per game in 1999. Here they're up 19-0. It felt like a close game for 2.5 quarters, and now all of a sudden the score and the feeling just seems like it's a blowout. Kurt Warner again, his offensive line gives him all kinds of protection. And he completes to Oz Hakeem.
One of the feature points of the in route is being able to make a nice throw to the middle part of the field. And for a quarterback, that's one of the
And for Marshall Faulk, huge hole, and he's inside the 20. 65 yards on 17 carries now for Marshall. And he easily has 5 tackles, but he has not forced any turnovers. Kurt Warner handoff to Ampliu, spelling Marshall Faulk on this one. He gets his second carry for 3 yards. Will Kurt Warner snap it? He should not. And he doesn't. Okay. So, 3 quarters have been played. It is the 1999 St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf, 19, and the 1984 Seattle Seahawks, the turnover machine on defense, not forcing any today and trailing by 19. There is a completion to Isaac Bruce. He gets hit by 2 men, but holds on to the ball. There is an injury. It would make sense that it's Isaac Bruce getting absolutely walloped by both Robinson and Easley, the 2 best tacklers on the field today. But it looked like Bruce was getting up, so hopefully it's not him. Kurt Warner from the shotgun now. 1st and goal from the 4. He's going to throw. And throw a touchdown pass to Azakim. The fact that Kurt Warner lined up in the shotgun from the 4-yard line and threw a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter when they're up by 19 is normal. It wouldn't be normal perhaps in our 1962 Sack to the Future season, but this is the 99 Rams. They put points on the board, and they don't care what part of the game it is. Kurt Warner is going to throw his passes. 26-0. Earlier I said I think the 49ers are going to win this division. I don't know. I don't know. These Rams are looking good.
The Seahawks offense now, they get ready to head back onto the field. And following the interception, just any interception.
It's going to be fun either way. Zorn now. Screen pass set up. He's got some blocking and will get a 1st down. Zorn spreads them all out with 4 wide receivers on the tight end. And he will throw it to no one. He had Steve Largent cutting across, but he overthrew him. And I said earlier, if Jim Zorn was able to lead the team to a win against the Rams, there might be a quarterback controversy. He played well in the last couple of games. He didn't play well in game 2 when he came right off the bench, but he wasn't prepared or anything. I mean, he's always prepared, but it's just different when you have to come into a game. The 2 games that he prepared all week for and started, they actually won them both, and he looked pretty good. But this one, 10 of 19, this is his worst of the 3. And I think next week it is time to go back to Dave Craig. Zorn comes up firing. That one's complete, and that is a 1st down. Mike Tice with the reception. Mike Tice, of course, later after his football career is over, he'll go up and coach the Minnesota Vikings for a little bit. Another quick pass. The Rams are going to try to strip the ball up 26-0. That's an interesting coaching adjustment. And Jim Zorn will go underneath again. So Jim Zorn starting to get in a rhythm here with underneath passes. But again, the Rams up by 26. Probably just playing prevent defense, and they'll let those 5 to 7 yard passes happen all day because the Seahawks are going to take too much time to get the ball in the end zone. Completion to Young. He'll fight his way down to the 14.
I like how they work the tight end on a nice little under route there. And if you're going to give him that much space,
most of the line jumps off sides.
that's exactly what he just did there, picking up extra yardage.
False start, offense.
And that'll set him back 5.
Jim Zorn at this time is the 31-year-old quarterback from Cal Poly Pomona College. So 31, he's definitely been around. He was the starting quarterback for the Seahawks from 76 through 82. Fought some injuries in 82, so only started 7 games. Then in '83 he was not injured, but that was the year that they went to Craig midway. So just last year, 1983, he started 8 games and then gave way to Craig. In this year, in real life, 1984, he was not supposed to start any games as Craig just held on to the starting job and was a Pro Bowler, kept it all year. But in best era football, he is starting because Craig got hurt. And there he throws a touchdown pass. There we go to Floyd Turner. And that will at least avoid the shutout.
You're going slow clap on me.
That's not Floyd Turner, it's Daryl Turner. But there you see Norm Johnson. He had his field goal blocked. Now he has an extra point blocked. And the Seahawks are going to need to work on their blocking for field goal attempts. I mean, had that field goal not been blocked, if the extra point and field goal blocking was better, Norm Johnson probably makes the field goal. That puts them at 10 points, then takes 7 away from the Rams. It could be a 19-10 game right now if the Seahawks would just block on special teams. But special teams has been a big part of this game and made what could be a relatively close game into a complete blowout. Hey, Tears, well, Maddenisms, if you want to call it that, have cost the Seahawks. I don't know if you saw that extra point block, but earlier they had a field goal blocked and returned for a touchdown. But now the Rams just had Marshall Faulk get injured. And so that, depending how serious of an injury is, that is more important than winning this game, I would think. Oh, you see the 96 Packers extended their lead against the 93 Cowboys. It's now 19-10. There's the Monday night game, the only undefeated team left in best era football. 98 Vikings will be taking on the 85 Chicago Bears. That's the Monday night game. The next game that will be broadcast, of course, will be the Sunday night game, and that, I believe, is the Chiefs and Oilers. There you see a rundown of the other games that have already happened. 85 Jets beat the 86 Browns. 91 Lions beat the 96 Panthers. 89 49ers, been talking about them a little bit this game. They won. That's Robert Holcomb getting his first carry with Marshall Faulk being out. And the Rams will punt. Again, because of the miscues by the blocking of the special teams unit for the Seahawks. This 19-10 game is actually 26-6 instead. Oh, the 2000 Ravens have just crawled to within 2 points of the 1990 LA Raiders. Jim Zorn having a decent game. Dave Craig will be back next week. Dave Craig injured in week 2 against the 49ers. Missed the last couple of games and this one, but he will be back next week. As well as the right guard, I believe. One of the offensive linemen of the Seahawks is also out today. Not a Pro Bowl or anything like Dave Craig was, but still. It's good to have your starters healthy. Jim Zorn completes that one out to Steve Largent, who has 4 catches for 84 yards on the day.
Decent start to the drive, but let's face it, they need a lot of things to go right in a short amount of time, down 3 scores.
Yeah, we're going to run their 2-minute offense here in this game, but this is a future game.
Jim Zorn, nobody's back there with him. 5 wide, and he will throw that one away, I thought. Whew. He needed to get that ball out of bounds a little bit further. It looked like he was certainly throwing it away, but it was almost picked off. There was a Seahawk over there, but just the way it came out of his hand, I thought he was throwing it away, and the next thing I know, it was almost intercepted. Jim Zorn now, 3rd and 10. Got to come up with something here. in trouble. He fired that to the sidelines. All right. So 2 consecutive throws to the sideline. And on 4th and 10, they're going to go for it. If I had any suggestions to make to Jim Zorn, I would say throw it in the field of play on this down. He'll drop back. He will throw it in the field of play, and it's caught. And that's going to be a touchdown. So hold your horses. The special teams has let the Seahawks down, but Jim Zorn has put 2 touchdown passes on here in the 4th quarter. And they're still down by a lot, but it's they've cut the lead in half. Maybe. Will the point after be blocked? No. They finally block. And yeah, that's Norm Johnson. Norm Johnson puts it home. It's 26-13. I already called this game. I already said the Rams were 4-1 and had tied the 49ers for the division. I still think it's over, but they might be getting a little bit nervous. The Seahawks have actually taken the lead in total yardage, and Marshall Faulk is hurt, so things are starting to spiral out of control for the Rams, but I think they'll still win this game. Play action pass. Kurt Warner going to go to the air again. My God, the offensive line is so good. Kurt Warner, he fumbles the football. That's what the Seahawks did in 1984, is they forced turnovers, and they did at a critical time. Why was Kurt Warner running? He's not a runner. And this is not sack to the future. Wow, he pays the price, though. Forced fumble. It definitely was a fumble, and what is happening? Marshall Faulk goes down. I was just going to say, I can't wait to have an offensive line anywhere near as good as this 99 Rams offensive line is. But Kurt Warner decides to run out of the pocket anyway. Fumbles the football. And the Seahawks, if they put this in the end zone, what a turnaround. Zorn steps up. He completes. That's a first down. He's over 300 yards now. Huh. I can't believe what's happening here. Now, I wouldn't count the Kurt Warner maddenism, or as a maddenism, because that's just stupid running with Kurt Warner. I mean, if one of us did that and fumbled, I certainly would not be on the side of Madden cheating. I would be like, idiot. Kurt Warner doesn't run the football. But sometimes the computer's an idiot. So, all right. Zorn, 2nd and 3. That's a touchdown. That is a touchdown, and the Seahawks have come from 26-0. It's now 26-19, and the difference in this game right now is the field goal that was blocked in return for a touchdown. Otherwise, the Seahawks would have just taken the lead there. Can they block the extra point? They do, and Norm Johnson puts it home. What is going on? The Rams up by 26. Now they're only up by 6. And the Seahawks have all 3 timeouts. Styles and Fletcher talking to each other. They can't believe it. That's supposed to be Dick Vermeil. Comes over and tries to console his defense. He's probably crying himself at this point. All right. Well, 1999 NFL MVP. Are you going to lead your team to a couple first downs here, or are the Seahawks going to pull the most amazing comeback I've ever seen in a computer-simulated game? 26-20 now. Kurt Warner from the shotgun. Looks like Marshall Faulk is... That's not Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk still sidelined. They haven't announced what it was, but he's been out for over a quarter now, I think. It was either late 3rd quarter. I think it was late 3rd quarter. So I don't think he's coming back this game. Rams working on the clock. If the Rams are going to keep giving it to Amp Lee, I think the Seahawks are fine with that. Even though they do take some time off the clock, the Seahawks are going to get the ball back if they hand off to Lee one more time. Kurt Warner. Oh, there's Kurt Warner doing Kurt Warner things. He finds Isaac Bruce. Offensive line gives him a couple hours back there, and Isaac Bruce gets open for the first down. Hey, the Batman, glad you could join. What you missed, I'm not going to lie, you don't even, there's some plays in the first three quarters, but really, if you just want to rewatch the entire fourth quarter, that's where all the action has been. It was actually a closer game than the score indicated, but the score in the fourth quarter was 26-0 Rams. So the Seahawks are working on perhaps the greatest comeback I've ever seen the computer pull off. Or the Rams are just going to put them away with a couple more first downs. Kurt Warner underneath. That's complete. Kurt Warner, 22 of 27, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He is a great thrower of the football. However, he ran the ball once and only once this game and fumbled. So I'm sure he will never do that again. Okay, 2-minute warning. Seahawks decided to keep all their timeouts for after the 2-minute warning. That's what the computer does. They don't. There you go. All 20 points have been in the fourth quarter from the Seahawks. Rams have scored in every single quarter. I want the Seahawks to stop him here. I know it's supposed to be objective, but let's give the Seahawks the ball back. Oh, there you go. Incomplete. Whew. I'm not sure that I want the Seahawks to win necessarily. I do for the comeback, but I definitely want to see them have a chance, and they are going to get their chance. Here's the punt. Where's that going? That's going to go straight out of bounds. There's no reason to give Kenny Easley a chance to break this game open. So, Jim Zorn. He took over in week 2 when Craig got injured, and he did not play very well. But they went to 0-2. Then in the 2 games where he had a full week to get ready for, he led them to 2 wins. They're back to 2-2 now. And here, after playing poorly for 3 quarters, not necessarily that poorly, but not good either, he's all of a sudden thrown 3 touchdown passes here in the fourth quarter, gone over 300 yards for the game. Jim Zorn putting a monster effort forward here. Line gives him some time, and oh, don't drop the ball. Darrell Turner drops the ball, and that makes it 3rd and 10. Of course they're going for that 4th down. Jim Zorn might be locked into Steve Largent here when you, that's not the first drop ball for Zorn. The tight end, Young, has also dropped 1 or 2. Oh, no, there you go. He goes back to, I think that was Tice. Yep, Mike Tice makes the catch. 90 seconds we're down to now. Play action pass for some reason. No one's buying that. And that's complete. Jim Zorn up to 340 yards. They still have all 3 timeouts. They're down to up to the 48-yard line. Plenty of time is correct. Oh. And that is, I think, that's the right tackle. Is it the right tackle or left tackle that's hurt? I think that's the starting right tackle, Bob Kreider. But Ron Essink, I think, is the guy that's hurt. So, anyways, Jim Zorn, 1st and 15. In trouble, gets rid of it. Complete and out of bounds. Is that Metzelars? The future Buffalo Bills? Yes, it is. Pete Metzelars with his 2nd catch. All 3 tight ends have caught the ball today. 1:11 to go, all 3 timeouts. The clock is almost a non-issue now. What the issue is the Rams defense. Seahawks need to get 35 more yards. There's a 5-yard pass. Jim Zorn, 25 of 38, 364 yards. And now we're back to questioning, do they put Dave Craig in next week when he's healthy? Jim Zorn, right before he gets hit, he delivers over the middle, inside the 10, down to the 3-yard line. Clock's ticking, but the Seahawks have their timeouts. They're letting this tick on purpose because when you score, you don't want Kurt Warner to have any time. Unbelievable. And the entire offensive line outside the center jumps. Now, that shouldn't cost you 10 seconds. Did that just cost them 10 seconds? Was anyone paying attention? Were they at 38 seconds before that penalty? I think they were. So now they're down 28 seconds. But again, 3 timeouts. They can call a timeout in first, second, and third down if they need to. Jim Zorn from the shotgun, looking, waiting, in trouble, runs backwards, sacked. There's the timeout. Why did he run back to the 21-yard line? Oh, 2nd and goal. They need 21 yards here. Got the timeouts, no problem. Time-wise, the problem is 21 yards in a couple plays. Oh, no. Another sack. Mike Jones, the hero of the Super Bowl. So the Seahawks. Why are they not calling timeout? The Seahawks. The coach is going to blow it for him. What? Jim Zorn fires end zone, intercepted. He felt like he had to force it because the coach didn't call timeout. Doesn't make any sense, but Todd Light ends this thing with an interception in the end zone. Jim Zorn had to force it because there was 2 seconds left on the clock as the coach hangs on to 2 timeouts. Skansky just tried to knock it away to give him one last shot, but Light held on. The coach has no one to yell at but himself. What the hell was Chuck Knox thinking? And now Kurt Warner will come out, victory formation, and the Rams, as I said in the third quarter, do go to 4-1, but they were scared. Chuck Knox fired in week 5 of Best Era Football. No firings, but wow. He kind of deserves it. Well, the Seahawks come up just short of the greatest comeback that I've ever seen in Madden by a computer. And the Rams survive. Big question for the Rams is how long is Marshall Faulk out? That might be more important than the fact that they won this game. But anyways, that was the afternoon game of Week 5. So hopefully sometime within the next week here, the Sunday night game between the Oilers and Chiefs. That's the 90. Oh, crap, I forgot. I think it's the 92 Oilers against the 1990 Kansas City Chiefs. And then the Monday night game, the 98 Vikings only remaining undefeated team, and the 85 Bears. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. And a happy Easter.